going.
All right, got it. I'm gonna mute.
All right. Hello and welcome back, everyone, to our ongoing quest to build a culture of empathy. We are recording this call for education and promotional purposes. If you do not want to be recorded, please put an X next to your name. If you're for it, go ahead and put an R. And today we're going to take just a quick short round for check-ins, about 30 seconds each. So any questions, comments, controversy from the last session? How did your empathy buddy call go? Any short reports from doing your own empathy circles, and any feedback from the session video. We'll go around and start calling on folks. Let's start with the lovely Miss Jennifer Ann Love.
I just went to share content instead of unmute myself. Hi. So my buddy call was wonderful. It was with Anne. Really awesome to connect with her in the UK. And let's see. So from the week's empathy work, I told my son and I started getting into a heated thing that we do. And I said, hey, I've got this homework. Can you just let me repeat back what you've said, like we did in the empathy circle with my dad. And Dad, you look very handsome, by the way. You trimmed up. And he said, okay. And then he started sharing. And I started just what I call recreation. Like I recreated his communication back and did the reflective listening part, and only that. Like I didn't give him an opportunity to whatever, because it's at a certain point he's like, well, how can you just respond to that? And it kind of devolved from there. But it was really cool, because basically what he was saying to me is that he thinks I'm a crazy person, and I reflected that back to him, like, you think I'm a crazy person? But he didn't say those words. It's like regarding something specific that we're dealing with. And that's when he was just like so frustrated, like, you agree? You hear yourself? So yeah, so that was really, really cool. So thank you to the empathy circles and all of the trainers for, fostering that kind of skill in the life and to the homework. I think it's a testament to the way this can weave into your life and have really practical benefit.
Practical life application. Dee, how about you?
Yes, good afternoon. I did both of my homeworks this week, and I'm happy to get both of those completed. The buddy call was very good. Larry's well behaved. We didn't have any challenges. I was really grateful for that, Larry. My empathy circle that I led with 3 other people had almost all the challenges, because they didn't know what was going on and they wanted to yak, and so that's kind of how that went. So, and I see I've got a 30-second check-in, so I'm going to stop with that. Okay.
Beautiful. Good check-in. Alexandra. Alex.
Hi, everyone. I am coming off the back of what feels like a really crazy, intense week and time. So much is going on in my life, including the 2 discoveries this week in the drain pipe of 2 little kittens. So they've been the most wonderful, lovely surprise, and I'll just hold on to them until they go to their forever home. I've been thinking lots about empathy, and after the session last week, did lots of writing and thinking and reflecting, and it's been coming up a lot for me this week in really positive ways. I stood Kathy up for our buddy call after having organised it and scheduled it. I did not show up, and it's one of many things this week that has kind of fallen through the cracks. So I'm glad to be here.
Welcome, welcome. George, check in for us.
Yes, hello. The article was really great with Jana, and we talk about the difference between the guilt and maybe remorse or regret, which it's different things. And also, it was a feeling that how many similar things we have in common in spite of the cultures or religious views or whatever. So it was really great. Yeah. Yeah, that's pretty much that. So thank you.
Excellent. And Miss Ruth.
Hello, sorry I'm a bit late. Yeah, all good. Had a very nice call with DJ yesterday. I think we used the time really well. You know, we had a practice and covered a lot of topics. Unfortunately, I haven't had a chance to do an empathy circle face to face. It's just been a busy week and I've been a bit under the weather, but I've got one planned for next week, so that's good.
Yes. We'll go on to Miss Anne. Oh, Miss Anne, you are still muted. There we go.
Yeah, it's been a good week. I really enjoyed my buddy call and had a really excellent empathy circle on Thursday evening. So that's good, and it's good being here with all of you. Thank you.
Yes. Miss Kathy.
Oh, yes. Yeah, I missed my buddy call with Alex. It's so funny, though. I thought I had Jennifer's picture for Alex, so I thought I was meeting with Jennifer. So now I have Jennifer and Alex straight. So that's it.
Excellent. And Jonathan. Checking in.
Well, I've had a very challenging week. I've been up in a different location. I just had my main computer, I believe, give up the ghost forever. This has been a hard week for me, and I have to apologize for having missed my buddy call. But I've learned one thing, and in a way, I'm really looking forward to our training session because I have an opportunity to say what's on my mind, and it's just I don't want to. I don't know how to say this, but it's comforting to see that everyone here is going through difficulties just like me. We're all, challenged, and I really want to live up to my contract and participate fully. And it's hard when things don't work well. And I'm grateful to be here.
Love that. Wendy.
I feel really fortunate. Had excellent empathy circle on Wednesday, the European one. Some real challenges, I take my hat off to people who are willingly engage with English as an additional language, and that really brings some challenges for some people, and just so much bravery in that. So yeah, a very interesting week. Thank you.
We'll go to Miss Sally. Checking in.
Howdy, Sarah, everyone. I'm gonna turn my camera on because I tend to talk too much. Yeah, I actually had a buddy call first with Larry and then with Linda, and I was pleased to actually connect up with Linda. And the home department, I seem to go back to square sorry. Yeah, I'm still working on family, and that's pretty much it.
All right, Larry.
I had a wonderful buddy call with Dee, and it's been a really wonderful week. Lots of empathy circles, and I think I've said this before. I love empathy circles.
I've heard that once or twice. Bill.
Yeah, sorry. Well, we missed our buddy call, but we'll make it up next week, and that's fine. and been working on the empathy game, and had a really nice strategy session on Thursday with Jonathan and Crystal and Sally. And keeping my nose to the grindstone. Thanks.
Yes. And Janet.
I had a nice buddy call with George. You heard a little bit about it, and very precious. And thank you, George. And I had a wonderful empathy circle with Larry. We're doing ethics and empathy, conversations that matter. And we introduced the wisdom theme too, how to act. And it was really lovely. And there are some challenges. Not everyone agreed that it makes a difference how we act, 100%. But this coming week, I'm looking forward. We're doing kindness. Thank you.
And Ms. DJ.
Yeah, I had a really great buddy phone call with Ruth. I really loved it. I've been in empathy circles with Ruth here in the training, but having a one-on-one conversation with somebody is so different than being in a circle. And I just love the way that she was able to kind of like share a little bit about who she is, and at the same time kind of bring up larger, more important issues. And so we had a really great and very efficient buddy call. So I was very pleased about that. I went to Larry and Jana's about the how do you act conversations that matter. It was very interesting. I don't know what Jana means about how some people think it doesn't matter how you act. I don't remember that part, but it was really great. It's nice to be with people and just, talk about these things without judging other people. And I use empathy circles. I use the concept of empathy circles in all of my relationships and all of my conversations. And I have a very problematic relationship with someone that I used to live with. And I still have to have interactions with him for various circumstances. And it only takes like 2 seconds for him to become a bully or him to become abusive. And I have to try really, really, really hard, not to go there with him. And so I practice just, listening and reflecting back and being 100% there for him. And it's actually kind of changing him a little bit. He's actually saying like nice things to me and thank you. And I'm like, what? I've had a relationship with him for, I don't know, long time, many, many years. And he's never said thank you before. So thank you, empathy circle people.
All right, Ms. Linda.
This week it's been normal. I continue to have senior moments. Thank you, Sally, for reaching out for the buddy call, and I enjoy my buddy calls with Sally. This lady has many facets to her personality or her world. It's always interesting talking to her. And thank you, Larry, for reminding me that what I'm supposed to do today in the session. So all is good. I know when I leave here, I have some errands to run. I'm going to buy a sign for my front door that says no solicitation. Because just now, and I have a Ring doorbell. They don't use the Ring doorbell. They just beat and they don't knock. They beat on the door, and I go to the door ready to have a confrontation with them. And I was like, so we'll see, but all is good.
All right, we'll go to Edwin.
Yeah, I had sent out a email about the invitation to take part in the visioning empathy circles for the retreat center, the empathy center that we're setting up in Santa Barbara. So we held 2 of those this week, and the one on Friday, I'm trying to develop a process to harvest for better harvesting of the ideas that get generated. So we started, before we even started the circle, since everyone knew the process, had everybody write 3 ideas to begin with. So we had it down on paper. And then once it was down on, on a Google Doc, when we did the everybody shared in the circle, we could document and add to those ideas. And then at the end, we went through and did a quick review of it. So this is like taking empathy circles into more of an idea generation and harvesting sort of a process. So it worked really well. So I was really pleased with that. So, and you're all welcome to join those circles as well in the following weeks. Yeah, thanks.
Before I go, did I miss anyone? No? Oh, good job me this time. Okay. All right. My check-in is, as Bill said, I get 2 empathy buddy calls this week because I didn't do it this last week, but more empathy for me. Also got to use empathy in an argument, not with my kid, but with my husband. I use it with my kid pretty regularly, but with my husband, and in a conflict like that, I said, look, I'm not going to reflect it directly. I'm going to take anything where it sounds like I'm taking on the language out and rephrase it for how I heard for you owning it, and hearing it reflected back. It's just, we already all know this. I'm preaching to the choir, but golly, it's impactful. It's impactful. So yep, real life application also over here. And any week where you're arguing with your spouse or your partner or your family, there are life challenges, and sounds like I'm not the only one out there with lifing all over our life, right? Okay. And I'm going to pass it on. Thank you for the check-ons. Welcome back, everyone. I'm going to pass it to Linda and Larry.
All right, welcome to the feedback. And Linda, we can share this. We basically have 2 questions. The first one is what to do if the speaker needs a bit longer than the allotted time because they are talking about something very emotional and important to them. I have a response written and I'll go over it, but Linda, I'd like to turn it over to you for any thoughts on that question, if you'd like to share on that question.
I guess what I want to say is don't let the process interrupt the purpose of the communication. And so if that happens in a circle, the facilitator can let the person finish the thought and maybe go a little longer, but not too much longer, if you know what I mean. And just say, I know your time is up, but we're going to let you finish. So I think if you actually let the group know that their time is up, but you're going to let them finish because you feel like they have something important to share, then that's okay. So you just have to balance time, know your room, and respond to the emotions that you're experiencing in the group yourself.
Exactly. Well said, Linda. Thank you. In my notes, I wrote, the timer is not a hard stop. Allow the speaker to complete their thought, receive their reflection, and be fully heard. They will usually get another chance to be the speaker again if there is more to share. The purpose of the timer is to represent equanimity or equality for all speakers. And what's alive in you is not a clock, right? So be flexible. And having said that, we also want to be mindful that sometimes a new speaker will have a tendency to go on and on and on. So do use the time sign as a reminder of equanimity for all speakers. And I think that covers that question pretty well. Just looking at any hands up or anything or further suggestions.
I'd like to add one thing. Is that I let that happen last year. Sometime I don't even remember, but the person, I let them finish because I could just tell something was going on with them. And she actually emailed me the end of last year, thanking me for letting her get that out. And to be honest with you, I don't even remember her or doing it. I know I did it, but I don't remember her and what the issue was. But it just surprised me to get that email out of the blue, and it had been a while. So sometimes people just need to be heard.
Thank you, Linda. Great example. And on this question, like all of these, I'm reminded of what Bill will say, and that is, sometimes if I let somebody go on a little too long or not long enough, I'm going to be criticized. No matter what I do, I'm going to be criticized. So that will happen. There will be criticism of whatever decision you make. So this is just something that kind of comes with experience. It's not exactly a hard and fast. We do try to represent equanimity using the timer. And sometimes, someone does have something they need to get out, and that's the moment to let it happen. So the next question is, what are the most common challenges that new trainees? Oh, I'm sorry. There's a hand raised.
Oh, I didn't see
Yeah,
it.
I think it's a very fine line between the mutuality and letting somebody speak longer. Sometimes it's best to have them in that safe container of the minutes that we have allotted, because if too much comes out, it's really hard for them to get themselves, back together. So I do think the fidelity to the circle is important. And yes, let them finish their thought and get their reflection. But I think it's healthier for them to be part of the process of equality and mutuality.
Yeah, it is a fine line. Thank you, Kathy. And the next one is double check, no other hands up, right? Okay. What are the most common challenges that new trainees identify as experiencing? Ironically, I wrote down the timer, remembering to use the timer, and new participants not being familiar with the empathic listening process is a challenge for all of us. We're all going through that challenge. And it takes practice to learn empathy and to relax in the empathy circle process. Linda, over to you.
I would say, as a new person, a new facilitator, when the speaker is not, when the person that's reflecting is not actually reflecting what was said, and you have that urge to jump in there and say, and correct it and say, so you just have to find a time to let the speaker know that somebody heard them. And as a facilitator, you can say, thank you, Linda, I'm the listener. And I also would like to say that I heard Cara say blah, 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 and just a little snippet. So I think that's going to be a challenge for people when you don't think that the listener is actually reflecting what the speaker is saying. They're not getting it.
Thank you, Linda. And now I believe we turn it over to DJ. I hope I got that right.
Did we have another question?
Was that 3 questions or just 2?
That's 2. The third one was how to manage any interruptions in an empathic way and what kind of self-care is needed. That's not a question for me. How to do it in an empathic way? No. Okay. You just treat people the way you want to be treated. And, my deal when I mediate is the rules are set out in the beginning. And I've told this in several circles. The rules are set out in the beginning. And when a person interrupts, I'll say, remember the rules we all agreed to, that everyone would wait until it's their turn. So I know you have something to say, and I'll take it from somebody that was in the group last week. I thought it was real nice after they responded to the person that was interrupting. They said, and can you mute your mic? So that's just treat people the way you want to be treated, and don't embarrass them and don't chastise them. Just find a way to remind them that these were the rules that we agreed to, or this was the process that we all agreed we would, use to get this done.
Thank you, Linda.
That's my 2 cents.
And when I hear that question, I think that was from the previous session, but anyway, when I hear that
Okay.
question, the challenge to me, to empathy, is what I would call, the same thing that goes on in all of our lives and interactions with human beings. Whenever we get that amygdala hijack, that shuts down our empathy. So the way to come grounding yourself again, for me, is just take some slow breaths so that the amygdala hijack fades away. And then we get our prefrontal cortex back online so we can think empathically and creatively. And to practice that whenever we're challenged, whenever the amygdala hijack kicks in, practice grounding. Yep. Now I think we turn it over to DJ. Is that right?
I think Dee has her hand raised.
Oh, I'm
I
sorry.
didn't see it.
Just for time,
see
we should hold those questions. It'd be good if you can post those questions into the feedback form, because we're almost at the time to go into the breakout rooms, and the discussion can keep going and going. So yeah, DJ, just want to keep us on track for time. Sorry.
Okay. So today, we will devote all of our time in the breakout circles to giving you time to practice facilitation. And the context is that there are new people to the process, but you do not have to go through the how-to if you don't want to. You can if you want to, but if you don't, it's optional. So this is more about practicing and addressing the challenges of the design. So each facilitator will set the challenge level they desire. That could be none, low, or medium. Only one trainer or trainee will give challenges, and this is decided at the beginning when you get to the breakout rooms. The facilitator sets any topic they wish and what is alive for people. The time will be 3 minutes. The facilitator is the first listener and deals with the challenges. We will end our breakout rooms with 30 minutes to debrief in the main room.
Okay, so we're ready to go into the, and there's also those instructions DJ just posted. So we have the breakout rooms, so there'll be 4 people to a room with a trainer and a trainee and 2 participants. So we have Bill, trainer, Kathy, trainee, facilitating the room with Jonathan and Dee as participants. We have Larry, trainer, Jana is trainee with Jennifer and Sally as participants. So you get to divide the time in half. There's just 2 participants. Linda in room 3 with DJ as the trainee. Linda is trainer with George and Alexandra as the participants. So you'll each get half of that time to take part. And then the last room is Anne, trainer, with Wendy being the trainee, room facilitator, Kara and Ruth in that room, and I'll be in that room as well, recording that one, since everybody was okay with recording in that room. So here we go. We have an hour and a half, and I'll send about a 10-minute notice if I remember when we come to come. I'll try to remember. Don't always do it. Sometimes it's a little late when we get back. Heads up before we come back to the full group. Okay, everyone. See you there. Ruth should be here, and George and Alex. You should be moving to another room. Did you see see that button, Alex?
No, and I haven't been given the breakout room option down the bottom yet either.
That's strange. Assigned to. Let me try moving it. Oh, and then we'll.
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Yeah, this is it. Okay.
And we've got two Ruths, I think. Oh, welcome everybody to this breakout room. We've got Ruth and her twin. And yeah, so for the purposes of this breakout room, Anne is the trainer and I'm the trainee, and Cara and Ruth for this breakout room will be the participants. Do Cara or Ruth, do you have any questions about how we're going to proceed? Okay. Do either of you want to go first? So you'll have 30 minutes each to facilitate a circle with your own question and your own level of challenge. Cara or Ruth, do you have a preference?
No preference. Go ahead, Ruth.
No. I'd rather go second, actually.
Deal.
I do have.
Okay. Okay.
I'll go first.
Okay, Cara, can I invite you? What level of challenge would you like, Cara?
Let's do a medium challenge.
Okie dokie. Look forward to your circle that you're going to facilitate for the next 30 minutes. Over to you, Cara.
And we're doing 45-minute rounds because we're splitting the time. Is that correct?
I thought 30 minutes because we need to do feedback, but maybe maybe we don't need 15 minutes for feedback. So, oh, Edwin, did you want to say something?
There's 3 participants, right? So you need 30 minutes.
I thought we only had 2 participants.
Oh, you're right. Oh, that's strange. Okay.
Unless
yeah, you're
you
right.
want
No,
to be
you're
one.
right. You're absolutely right. Just ignore me. Forget the guy that doesn't know what he's talking about.
You can totally be a participant, Edwin. I'm cool with it. You want to go first?
I'm trying to manage all these rooms in the
I don't know how
background here.
you do it. I don't know how you do it.
I don't know how I do it either.
Okay, relax, everyone. Anne, did you want to say something?
Yeah, just check with you, Wendy. You happy to be giving the challenges yourself?
Thank you for asking. I'm very happy. Yes, thank you. I value the experience. Thank you.
Great.
But thank you for asking. Cara, so should we say 35 minutes? Because we don't need 15 minutes. Then it gives us 10 minutes for feedback. So 35 minutes, Cara, and then Ruth, when it's your time, 35 minutes. Are you okay, Cara, to keep the time and such like?
I am, unless somebody has one of those screen pop-up ones, in which case I will totally tag on you, but mine did not work the way I hoped it would. So I will keep it the old-fashioned way.
Thank you.
Just so we all know, so we're not doing the full-on open, but just I'll give a 30-second warning before and a pause if we need before our time comes up. There's my time button. Okay. Haha, fancy. Okay. And are we okay with doing 4-minute rounds since there's not so many of us? I feel like that will give us a little more to it. Okay, and let's set a topic. Today's topic will be, I'm gonna Jack Ann's, how are you enjoying the nature or whatever is alive for you?
I didn't catch that. Sorry, Cara. What's the topic?
What are you enjoying in nature?
Oh, okay.
Or whatever is alive for you.
Okay. Shall I pop that in the chat for you, Cara? Or
thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, and as always, the person hosting will start as the listener. I would like to invite somebody to choose to be the speaker for me. Ruth will be my speaker. All right,
Great.
Ruth, I am
Yes.
listening.
Well, what am I enjoying in nature? Well, funny you should ask that. I have got a kind of nature diary that I've started this year. And the exercise we do is 3 good things in nature. I don't know if you've heard of it. Just write down 3 good things. Yeah, I'll stop there.
So I heard that it's fun to you that this is the topic because you actually have a practice that you're doing on journaling about nature, and you write 3 things that you like.
Yeah, I've just started it this year. It's very cold here, and nature's sort of just starting to sprout little things. Like we've got daffodils and snowdrops and stuff, not flowering.
Have you got daffodils already, Ruth? We haven't got them in the north yet.
Oh,
Wendy, I love that question, but it's Ruth's turn to talk. So let's stay focused in our circle. Thank you so much. Will you mute yourself?
I don't know if I can ignore that now. I must just say we haven't got flowering; they're budded daffodils.
So I hear that your season is changing, and you've just started this journaling this year, and just now the buds are starting to come up.
That's right. And yeah, it's difficult. Sometimes I don't go outside. It's been really, really cold. And yeah, I've just not, I've been working from home and I've just not felt like going out. So I have to use my imagination a bit more.
So I hear it's really cold over there, and that doesn't incline you to wanting to be outside. So you've been using your imagination for outside.
Yeah, but I really appreciate this exercise because it feels like it's kind of infinite. Never finish writing down 3 things that are good about nature. It's endless.
I hear you really like this practice because it's sort of endless, forever. You start with 3, but you can't really stop writing down the great parts of nature.
Yeah, and I think that you could probably turn them into haikus or some sort of very short poems if you wanted to get lyrical about it.
And I hear that you are thinking you could take it even further, say make it lyrical and do a haiku.
Yeah. I don't know what else to say about it. I mean,
I can help you with that, Ruth. If you
Wendy,
don't know
I love that you are such a participant, but again, we're going to let Ruth have her 4 minutes, and you'll get yours too, I promise. Could you go ahead and mute again?
This is boring. I want to have my say. Why can't we just discuss like normal?
Oh, you will get your turn, but that's how it works, is so that everybody can get their turn. So that's what we agreed on at the beginning, not in this particular one, but we're pretending we did.
Oh, well, I'm not sure about this.
Well, that's okay. You can try and lean into the process today. And if you don't like it, you do not have to come back. But this is how we do things here. So I think you'll really enjoy it when it's your turn.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah. I was just about to say, yes, thank you, Wendy, for adding in some interest there. Yeah, I don't feel that there's an awful lot more I can say about this at the moment. Nothing's being sparked, but yeah. I was going to say something, actually. Yes, I was going to say I'd quite like to. I mean, the most dangerous predator or the largest mammal that I get to see in real life is probably a fox. So it would be nice to see something a bit more exciting at some point.
I hear that you weren't really sure if there was anything else to say, but actually you'd like to speak into existence that you would like to see a fox or something bigger sometime soon. That would be excellent.
Yeah, I actually said I do see foxes and I'd like to see something other than foxes.
So you said you do see the foxes, but you'd like to see something else.
Thank you. I feel fully heard.
I will then become the speaker and choose someone to listen to me. I will ask Miss Anne, would you be my listener?
Certainly, Cara. Love to listen to you.
Live in nature. So I'm gardening. I have this escape well because I'm in the basement. So the window is one of those, like if there's a fire, it's actually an escape hatch kind of spaces.
So you went immediately to gardening and pointed out that in where you are, that you're in a basement, so you don't have a garden as such, but there's an escape well with light coming down to it.
And I love hidden gardens, so I'm trying to make it into a little hidden garden, but it also has to still be an escape route, which is a whole different challenge than I've ever had in a garden before.
So your intention is to turn it into a hidden garden, but you have a restriction which is challenging, is that it still needs to be an escape route.
Yeah. And
I hear some excitement in
I do. I'm really
it.
excited about it. And I feel like so often in my life, one aspect like gardening and a little wheel well is such a reflection of everything that's going on in my world.
Yeah, and something you wanted to say was like when you have something like this about gardening, you see that it actually reflects the whole of what's going on in your life in a way.
Yeah, so I have all of these little gardens that I'm working on. We'll continue the analogy. But there's roadblocks because I have to be able to make sure that I am accommodating the roadblocks, but still creating gardens.
So what you notice is that, of course, there are lots of little, have lots of little gardens, but amongst them, it's like having lots of little roadblocks, which you need, that life throws up, and you need to accommodate those.
Yeah, that's a good one. Thank you for the reflection. Hey, Wendy, can I ask you to stay focused and be present with us? Hi. Oh, hi. I love that you are here. Will you stay in with us and just stay present and help hold the space in the circle so that you can have your turn too?
Well, I was going to wonder when that would happen, It's been a long time that I've just sat here, so I thought I may as well just check my messages,
I appreciate that sentiment, but would you commit to being here with us?
Well, I guess, but
I love that. Thank you. Okay, and yeah, so my garden, it is a reflection, not unlike an empathy circle. It is a reflection of life with practical applications.
So I noticed that after you're dealing with the challenge, then that you've gone back to your topic of the little gardens, and it's a bit like life, having to deal with these, whatever it is, these challenges.
Life, right, has a tendency to life all over our life all the time.
So it's like there's just life happens, and so there's always that tendency for life happening in any situation. So you see it as just dealing with whatever is happening.
And I think that's the magic part of the empathy circle in general, is that it allows you to accept the life part of life, that whatever anybody else is going through just is, and still move yourself forward.
And this is one of the things you find quite magic about empathy circles. It enables that life that's going on as life with everybody in everybody's lives, but that happens at the same time as moving on yourself.
Yeah, I feel fully heard. Thank you. It is now your turn to pick a listener.
Thanks, Cara. So, Wendy, would you be my listener, please?
Oh gosh. Well, I'm not really sure if I can do that very well. So, would it be okay if I stand out? If I sit this one out and just hear a few more people, how that works?
Well, I'd like you to listen to me, please, Wendy. I thought I could choose anybody I wanted.
You can, but if Wendy is uncomfortable, we do want to make sure that this is a safe space for her. But I know, Wendy, that you're super excited to be able to have your turn to share, and this is how you do that. So if you can reflect for Anne, then it gets to be your turn and your words will get reflected.
Okay, I'll give it a go. Please be patient with me. Lots of senior moments, don't always get a chance to remember.
So, for me then, so if it's my turn, so about nature, I've got these 4 huge beech trees in the garden where I am at the moment, and we've had the tree surgeon come in and cut back the lower small branches to let a little bit more light into the house and garden. But actually, I'm feeling really quite sad. I'm grieving really for the beauty of these beech tree branches that hang downwards and just create like this magic natural woodland space underneath the trees.
So you're sharing with us that you've been having some work done on the 4 beech trees in your garden, which you love. You love those beech trees, and you're missing the fact that now the lower branches of the beech trees are not, although it's given more space and more light into the house and the garden, it's not, you're missing the effect of the beech leaves, the beech branches.
Mm. And I think they'll never again be doing that beautiful kind of light shade and rippling leaves. And I love watching and seeing them and just enjoying them, because all of the branches will be higher now, or the vegetation, the leaves will be much higher.
Yes. So although you wanted this work done, you're sharing that actually, and I detect a note of kind of regret on one level, because you'll be missing the light and the sort of, I don't know, the creative aspect of seeing those leaves and those branches playing in the light. And yeah, you're
and I have some guilt as well at like interfering with nature and interfering with these trees. But the reality is they're very close. They're too close really to the house. And they've got very, very big.
So there's a kind of duality in your response to having this work done, that, the trees, the branches are too close to the house, but it's changing your relationship with those, with your beech trees, and you're interfering.
Yeah. And the other thing about beech trees, I love beech trees. And that for more than 2 things, but one thing is that the new leaves are really, really soft and really beautiful green. And when they're just newly out, I've always enjoyed holding a leaf between my thumbs and blowing and making a wonderful kind of whistling noise, or like an owl.
So you have a long-standing love of the beech trees, not just these ones, but beech trees generally, and you've enjoyed when the leaves are newly out, when they're still green before they go kind of coppery color, of actually blowing and making the sound of an owl with the beech leaf.
And the other thing about beech trees is they make beautiful hedges which hold their leaves for a very long time in the autumn and in the winter. They're the last tree to lose their leaves, and so they always provide a really dense, beautiful hedge.
Yes, so for you, the beech hedge, it's just magnificent. You just love that, the fact that they're the last things to lose their leaves. Often they don't. They keep their leaves for a long, long time. So you really do appreciate beech trees, beech hedges.
Thank you, Wendy. I feel fully heard.
Thank you, Anne, for sharing.
It's your turn to speak, to pick a listener.
At last, my goodness. Okay, I've got to pick a listener. Oh, wow. Oh, how on earth do I pick a listener? That means I'm trying to pick a favorite. That's really hard to pick a listener.
I find, rather than focusing on a favorite, I like to pick someone who hasn't had a chance to speak recently. That works for me, but you may choose whatever makes you happy.
Okay, Edwin, would you be my listener, please?
Sure. I do hear that you're struggling with who to choose as your listener. So
Thank you. Okay, so nature, yeah, wow. So fortunate, so fortunate, considering how many species of plants, animals, etc. are dying out. I still feel I live in an area with great rich tapestry that nature is providing.
I'm hearing that you feel fortunate that you live in a very rich nature area, calling it a tapestry, nature tapestry.
Yeah. And for sure, there aren't as many bird sounds or as many birds in the garden, I think, as there used to be when I was little, definitely fewer. And I try and also look on the positive side of what we still have rather than what we're missing.
So you do notice that there's less birds in the garden than there was when you were younger, but you try to be positive and just appreciate what you do have.
Yeah, and because we bought a brand new house and they're still building on the estate, there are just so few birds because there's just too much disruption.
So there's a lot of construction going on there for this new house, and that's maybe scaring the birds away. So maybe that's why they're not there.
Yeah, but we live 15-minute walk from the beach, and it's quite normal to see a barn owl and some deer and things like that. So, I do feel very fortunate.
Yeah, you just close to the beach, and on the way there, you're seeing owls and other birds, and just a
One
real
owl.
one owl. Okay, one owl, just one
Same
owl.
owl.
The same owl multiple times.
Well.
Or maybe not. And you feel fortunate to see those birds on your walk.
Yeah, and I'm currently down south. Just been down in Cornwall to the Eden project, which, yeah, wow, talk about nature. Phenomenal project. Just such a joy to be there.
And there's some kind of a project there. It's called the Eden Project that you're really kind of excited and feel privileged to be able to be there, go there.
Yeah. So it's somewhere I've wanted to go for years. They took an old quarry and they've turned it in these great big biodomes, one for the Mediterranean type of climate and the Californian type of climate, and one for the rainforest, and yeah, just climates from all over the world. Just an amazing project.
Wow. So there's this project, you're explaining the project that they just create different environments on this old quarry about different places in the world, California or whatever. It's different. It's just very nice.
And they're going to be building one up in the north of England, not far, where I live, up in Morecambe. There's one opening in China. Actually, the Eden Project, they're having, I believe, about one in every kind of continent, and it is very inspiring.
Yeah, this project is very inspiring to you, and they're spreading them around the world. China are planned and other places too.
Yeah, and I think more than anything, it just reminds me of again what our responsibility for actually looking after what is there.
So this is just reminding you that we have a responsibility to look after nature and what we have.
Thank you, Edwin. I feel fully heard.
Okay, I'll speak to Ruth.
Yes,
in terms of nature, for me, it's mainly just going for walks and running. So we have a bike path here, and I just go out and kind of walk or run there, and there's just a lot of blooming trees now. It's very nice.
So yeah, your experience of nature is through walking and running, and there's a bike path near you and stuff is blooming already.
Yeah, in December I got a cold and then couldn't run, so it wasn't getting out. And then it was raining in January, just like the whole month of January had lots of rain here in California, so I didn't get out much. So haven't had that connection with nature as much as I probably need.
Yeah, so you're saying that you missed the connection because over 2 months, December you had a cold, and January it was raining. Yeah, so it's been a long time since you've had that, been able to connect with it.
Yeah, in December, I was at the retreat center that were the property, and I got the best room in the house, and it looks out over Santa Barbara, 180-degree view of all of Santa Barbara in front of me, like way up looking down at all of Santa Barbara. And beyond that is the ocean, and beyond that is some islands, the Pacific coast and islands. So that's like that's pretty nice there, yeah, for a view.
So you were at the retreat center in December, and yeah, the view, you bagged the best room, and the view, you get like a 180 degrees view of Santa Barbara, and you can even see the ocean and the islands in the ocean.
Yeah, so that's very nice. And it's 35 acres, would probably be, it's half that is like 15 hectares, around it, 15, 16 hectares of just sagebrush and oak trees and stuff like that. So rattlesnakes.
Ooh, there's a lot of nature. You can see there's 35 hectares of sagebrush, whatever that is, oak trees, and rattlesnakes.
There's a creek there and a canyon called Rattlesnake Canyon, so it's supposed to have a lot of rattlesnakes. So haven't seen any yet, but people have mentioned seeing them there.
Wow. And there's a canyon nearby called Rattlesnake Canyon. You haven't personally seen any, but you've heard that there are some.
Yeah, that's it. I feel fully heard.
Have we still got time to go on? 3 minutes. Anne,
we should be able to do 3 more rounds, I think.
Oh, 3 more rounds. Okay. Anne, would you be my listener, please? I know you've just been.
I'd love to, Ruth.
Thank you. Yeah, I don't know. I just thought we were finished then. Yeah, it's really nice to hear about all these different experiences of nature. And when people was, when you were saying beech trees, I thought, wow, 4 in the garden. It's unusual just to have 1, actually. Yeah, I'll stop there for a bit.
Yeah, so you're kind of taken by this idea of us talking about nature, and the beech trees have made you kind of go, wow, because having 4 in a garden, it's, almost, it's unusual. It's a lot to have 1.
Yes. Yeah, and I was picturing the retreat center with all, I'm not sure what sagebrush is, but it's kind of a nice, I'm sure it's a nice green, a sort of bluey green, maybe. Yeah, the lovely hot weather, I was picturing that. All these unusual, these slightly dangerous snakes, but that's okay. That's part of nature too, isn't it?
So you've been thinking about what's been said about the retreat center and the sagebrush, and you don't actually know what it is, but you imagine it to be a kind of bluey green. And the other thing that's like the heat is, it kind of made an impression on you, and the weather, and also these rather dangerous snakes, all being part of nature.
Actually, I'm not really sure sagebrush is bluey green at all. I think it's actually really a harsh thing that can go tumbling around in the desert. So I don't know, Ruth. I think
you're muted, Cara.
Something, but she's muted. What do
Tara,
you
you're
think,
muted.
Tara? What do
Well,
you
it's a
think?
terrible way to tell somebody, well, so we stay muted unless it's our turn to talk. And the only two people talking right now is Ruth is speaking and then Anne is reflecting. So the rest of us are staying muted.
Oh, okay. Thank you. I'm sorry. I'm really sorry I interrupted Ruth and Anne. I'm so sorry.
Oh, that's okay. Yeah. Have you finished, Anne? Yeah.
Ruth, it's your turn to speak, and you've been
Okay. Yeah.
you've some more
I'm
to
having a
say.
senior moment as well. Yeah, I don't know what I was going to say. I was actually thinking that I will. There's a strong possibility that I might never go to the United States and see these places that you're talking about. Yeah, I'm not sure if that's okay or not. Yeah. I took a vow a long time ago not to fly. I mean, I would get a boat. I don't know how likely that is.
So I noticed that you were a bit sort of confused, perhaps, after the interruption, and thought maybe it was my turn, but then gone kind of recentered yourself. And one of the things is you think there's a strong possibility that you'll never manage to visit the US because you've made a vow not to fly, and the chance of going on a boat is a bit small.
Yes, yeah, it just seems a bit more expensive and less available. I must just confess, I did fly 3 years ago to go to Sicily. I just thought, I really want to go to Italy, and I love Sicily, and I just want to see it. So I did, because it was cheaper than getting the train. But having flown, I thought, actually, I don't want to repeat that experience. I'd rather save up. Yeah, and travel slowly by train.
So you think that you made this vow quite a while ago not to fly, and partly that's because it's so expensive, and so I think that you won't go is because it's so expensive to go on a boat. Yeah. And 3 years ago, although you kind of decided not to fly, you did go because you were really keen to see Sicily and go to Italy. You flew because it was a lot cheaper. But you've decided after that you're not going to repeat that. You're just going to save up, and if you want to travel.
Yeah, thank you. I feel fully heard.
Thanks, Ruth. So, Edwin, do you listen to me?
Okay.
Okay, so nature. There was something I wanted to talk about. What was it?
You were trying to remember what you wanted to talk about. You seem to have forgotten.
Yeah, there were two things that I thought that would be interesting to explore that.
Yeah, you had a couple of things, two things that you wanted to explore, and it's just disappeared.
Yeah. And one of them, anyway, I've got one of them. There's a photograph here that was taken in the 1970s of a house that my partner and I built, and it's totally made of wood and recycled materials, and I love it. It's beautiful. It's in a 3.5 acre field. I can't translate that to hectares, but I got to know that land really, really well. And even though I haven't visited that piece of land for many years, I still feel like I know it intimately. I know the shape of the land and the difference in the soil and the trees, and the trees are grown. It just feels like it's part of me.
Wow,
and I miss it.
Yeah, so you really miss this property, this where you built the house yourself, and do you just know the land. So inside and out, you just know the quality of the ground, everything about it. It's like it's just part of you, and you just miss it. And you have a picture of it there that you're looking at.
Yeah, and I've been looking at it while I stay here in the last 2 days, and actually really enjoying it. It had a magnificent view. It was on the top of a hill, and you could see for miles. That you see lots of fields and trees, and I feel like I belong on that land. I want to be there.
Yeah, you really feel like you're belonging to that land, and you want to be there. And it's just had beautiful views of the hills. It was on a hill, yeah.
And I remember too that as a child, I was so familiar with all of the area around where I lived as a child, because I just walked or cycled everywhere. And so it was very familiar to me. And I don't have that depth of connection anymore to where I live, even though I've lived in where I am now for over 20 years.
So when the place where you lived as a child, you walked it, you rode your bike around it, so you really knew it intimately. Yet now you've lived in a place for 20 years, you don't have that same type of connection as you do with your childhood home and this other place that you were just mentioning. So maybe some regret that you don't have that connection.
Yeah, and I feel I want to somehow do something about that, so that I'm more connected to the land, because somehow, yeah, I guess it's roots, it's real belonging, and we like have a psychological need to belong, but it's possible to belong to the land.
Yeah, you want that feeling where you are now, and you're just thinking of what you can do to have that sense of belonging to the land there and really connecting with it.
Thank you, Edwin. I feel fully heard.
Okay, speak to Wendy. Yeah, what's coming up for nature? One of the things I just really enjoyed about nature was going up into the Sierra Nevada mountains. We have really, high mountains here in part of California, and it's very wooded, and I like to go fishing. I get to go up there and go fish in the rivers and lakes.
So you're sharing how you've always loved to go up into the high mountains of the Sierra Nevada, and you love being up there, and in particular, you enjoy fishing up there.
Yeah, I have a backpack, with all my food, everything. We go up for, 3, 4, 5, 6 days or so, or just hiking. And that's kind of like what Anne's talking about, that sense of really connecting with the space, with the nature, kind of being in it. And especially with fishing, it's like I kind of connect with the fish. I try to think how they think so I can catch them and eat them. But you really have to, it's really, it's kind of interacting with them.
So you're sharing how you go up from 3 to 6 days, carrying in a backpack everything you will need. And during that time, you're fishing, and you feel you enjoy the interaction of trying to empathize with the fish in the sense of feeling that you know what it's thinking, so you can kill it.
Yeah, and it's not just like, hey, I want to kill you. It's like, yeah, I'd like to kill you and eat you. So I do eat it, and there's just nothing like fresh caught trout. I put it into aluminum foil, put some spices in there, put it on the hot coals, and kind of cook it. And it's just so good, just so fresh trout out of the river.
So you're sharing how you're not just killing it for killing's sake. You're killing it because you enjoy to eat its flesh. You enjoy putting it with specific condiments and putting it in foil on the fire and cooking it. And for you, there's nothing more delicious than freshly caught trout on the fire.
Yeah, it's so good. And then just it's just the strain. You're backpacking. It's like really hilly, so you get really tired and just trudging and so exhausted, and just that physicality of everything, of the kind of the struggle, kind of the new vistas, and it's out there. There's no roads. It's just all kind of raw trail, wilderness trail.
So you're identifying with the rawness of the situation, the tiredness, carrying everything with your backpack and trudging up the hill, and the enjoyment that you get from that exertion, and feeling very much kind of one with the situation.
Yeah, and I've told Joan, my partner, I said, when I die, take just cremate me, take my ashes, and just sprinkle me on one of those high mountain rivers, streams. So you start with little streams and let me sort of float down, become, get back, become fish food.
So you're sharing that, you've told your partner that when you die, you would like your body, when it's cremated, and then the ashes sprinkled into the top of one of these streams, these rivers, so that they carry on down and you become fish food.
I feel fully heard. Yeah.
Thank you.
And I think that is our time before so we can do review.
Cara, how do you think it went?
Challenges are hard. So legitimately, they're just as hard to get as they are to give, which is a little validating, because it was really hard to give them, but I forgot how hard it was to receive them. And I probably, for the same reason, because we have to push the challenge. And most people, even when they push, once you push back, they kind of settle. But we have to push again and again. So hopefully I didn't make you feel picked on in quieting you back down, and hopefully we were able to get back to topic for everybody else. I think that's the hardest part. How do you recreate the space after an interruption? So I'd love feedback from everybody on how that felt on your end, so that I can adjust on my end to make it more comfortable for everybody.
How did the challenges affect your experience of the empathy circle?
Me or everyone else?
No, you, Cara.
Oh, it's totally disruptive. It does. It just sucks you out of the space, so that you have to recreate that space all over again.
Yeah. Thank you. Ruth, can I invite you to give some feedback to Cara, please?
Yeah. Well, yeah, I just agree that it's very discombobulating when it's your go to, it was very funny, very entertaining, but it's almost like, I did feel like I was pulled away.
Yeah.
And I was waiting for you to come in, Cara, and I thought, oh, what's she going to say? What's she going to say? But I thought, you were totally polite and even very affectionate towards Wendy, saying, oh, I love that you're taking part, but I thought it was really diplomatic, and I hope I can do that when it's my turn. It was nice to have a longer circle, actually. It felt like we could really get into stuff. Yeah.
Thank you, Ruth. Anne, could I invite you to say how it was for you? How do you feel Cara did?
Thanks, Wendy. I think you dealt with the challenges really well. I think that a lot of them came your way. It was kind of one after another, and you kept like a real kind of presence and pleasantness with you about it. There was just one, so I think you dealt with them really well and kindly and empathetically. I just thought at one point you went a bit too quickly for my liking to saying, well, if you don't want to do this process, you don't have to come. And I felt a bit like that was a little bit too soon and potentially feeling a bit rejected, and that would impact, or I felt like that impacted on me and my level of safety a little bit. So I try not to go to that point unless it had been, you know, like quite seriously disruptive or persistent somehow. That would be my tip about it. And at one point I thought, I'd love you to keep eye contact, because some of the time you were looking down while you were just generally facilitating the circle. And I would like to, if you'd had a bit more constant presence. But actually I did notice that it changed and it improved, that I felt more later on that you were really there and holding it, even if you weren't directly involved. So well done. But again, I always think practicing the how-tos and giving the information is invaluable. And I would always recommend to give it a go, because you establish the ground rules and it makes it so much easier to deal with any interruption.
Thank you, Anne. Edwin, could I invite you to give feedback?
Yeah, I enjoyed your challenges that you were giving, Wendy. Things like it was like you're getting into them, you know, coming up with the ones. Yeah, look, I like to see your alter ego. I'm like that too. It's kind of fun, you know. It's just I'm usually try to be nice and everything, but to just kind of let that little other side out is I just enjoy, and they're good too. A bit of humor in it. So, but the only thing I was thinking in terms of how I try it with a little thing to add is, you know, Kara, is the reflecting the person, give them a little bit of empathy, yeah, I hear you have some points that you want to share. We do want to hear those, and then direct people into the process again, which you did. You were always directing, but it's a little bit of empathy in just to reflect back so that they know that they've been heard, and it kind of softens, like they relax a little bit. Oh, somebody's hearing what's important to me, and then directing them back. So it just creates a little bit of a little softer quality. So I found that really helps too. Plus it's sort of modeling the empathic consciousness. So otherwise, yeah, it's just the topic was really great doing that in nature. I really enjoyed talking about the topic. Yeah, so that's it.
Thank you, Edwin.
Can I just add something that I forgot?
Yes,
please. Cara, yeah, I would say you had your little signs for showing the time, but I always advocate people hold it there and hold it steadily there until see if you can get people to make eye contact when they've seen it, rather than going up and down, because there's quite a high level of concentration when you're reflecting back. So it's easy not to notice something that's there briefly. So just hold it steadily. I like the way your sign wasn't too big, so you could hold it in like that kind of position and keep it there without it being really disruptive. Yeah. But again, I felt that during your facilitation that improved. Just you were naturally kind of getting there a bit more clearly with it.
Thank you, Anne. Wow, Cara, you did so well. Flipping heck. You did really, really well. I love that, your positiveness, you're very jolly, very upbeat. I love that 30-second sign. I haven't seen that before. That was a really great idea. It gives a time to sort of slow, right, it's finishing. Your jolliness and your positivity was such at the beginning that I missed the question. I had to ask you to repeat it. So to put it in chat, and to make, when you actually give the question, to be really clear is helpful. I thought you handled the challenges very well, except for the first one. And the first one, and I know you'd be nervous. We're all nervous doing this. So the first interruption I found really abrupt. I think it's when you said, would you mute yourself, please? I was like, I know it worked last time. I think Linda was saying that she found that helpful in the group. I actually found it very well, I think it's a bit what Edwin was just saying, that idea of empathizing before we educate. So yeah, it was just that phrase. Would you, it's the equivalent of saying, please shut up. Well, it's not even, it's just, mute yourself. So for me, it was very strong as the first kind of response. All the others, I mean, you were just so kind. And, I hear what Anne's saying about that one, that you don't have to say, that, yeah, I think we have to, yeah, maybe get back to some of the values of the empathy circle before we start saying, and I think you did with some, the idea of mutuality and such like. So a focus on the positive, which you are so good at, including the values before, the kind of the more, yeah, you don't have to be here kind of thing. Yeah. But great job. I would hate to have somebody like me in an empathy circle. So you did really, really well. Any more feedback? And do you want to come back on anything, Cara?
So can I just repeat to make sure I heard everything? Because guys, I never not love feedback, and I appreciate you all being so kind, but the more brutal, the better, because that's how I get better. So I loved Anne's point out, like, maybe don't invite them not to come back. Fair. I did, so I tried that mute yourself thing, and it does feel kind of snarky. I think it's not,
yeah.
I think the right person could pull that off, but I don't think I'm that right person. I love the idea of reflect back. So had I just said, hey, I hear you say blank, and when it is your turn, I'd love for you to speak more on that. Or, and just, I think, obviously we know it works. So if you lean on the thing that works, okay, so mental note to self, lean on the thing that that works, use the empathy to bring back to the empathy circle.
Okay.
Did I miss any of the other ones?
Well, the thing about the signs, Anne was telling me.
And the sign, yes. When I figured out I could hold it down here, so the 30-second I like to just bring up and bring back down as just a hey, and then the hold the time when the time comes. I will make sure that I do that. Excellent. Yes. Thank you. Timer. Anything else I missed?
Pat yourself on the back. You did good job. Good job. Thank you so much, Cara. Okay, before we start with you, Ruth, do we all need a moment to just kind of, I don't know, stretch, exercise, whatever we need? Yeah, Anne, you're muted, but I hear you saying something. Anne?
Yeah, could we have a quick bio break, please?
Yes.
Been in the room for 2 hours. I need to run to the loo.
2 minutes. Thank you. How are you feeling, Ruth? Everything okay?
Yeah, it's a hard one to follow that actually, because she was very good. I'm just wondering whether I should try and run through the rules again.
The how to?
Just
Yeah, you're
how
very
to,
welcome.
just for my own self.
You're very welcome to do that. Yep, very welcome.
Yeah.
Can I just check before you do that? Would you like some challenges?
Yes, please.
Would you like me, what sort of level of challenges would you like?
Yeah, medium.
Medium. Okay, good. Thank you. Thank you
Might
so
as
much.
well.
And you have a question that we're going to have as the focus.
Oh, topic, you mean? We can do what's live for us, or something about procrastination and making decisions.
Okay, so in the how to, will you introduce that as a question?
Yeah. How long are we is it half an hour?
35 minutes, I think we said. How long have we got to go?
We've only got 33 left.
Okay, so 30 minutes, because we need to give you, that doesn't give long.
I would say more like 25. I have, yeah. Well,
1,
yeah.
2, 3, 4, 5.
Yeah,
so
we
maybe
20. Shall we do it 25 minutes and then there's time for feedback?
Yeah,
3-minute turns, I suggest.
How long would the turns be? 4, 3? 3, just so we get to go round lots. Okay, 3 minutes. Okay, shall I go?
Yes, please, Ruth. Thank you.
Okay, welcome to the Empathy Circle. My name's Ruth and I'm your facilitator today. I'm just going to go through the rules in case you need to know. Yes, so we have the basic structure with active speaker, active listener, and then whoever's not speaking or listening, you are silently listening. You are definitely paying attention and holding the circle for everybody, because it will be your turn very soon. So the speaker will have 3-minute blocks for the speaker, and I will volunteer to be the active listener, firstly, to just model how we do it. So after you have reflected back and participated as a listener, it will then be your turn to choose to speak and to choose a listener. If you're speaking, do remember to pause and let the listener reflect back frequently, because if you go on too long, they're not going to remember everything and you might not feel as heard and you'll have to repeat yourself. The active listener, yeah, you can use your own language to reflect back what you've just heard. We do ask each other, we're going to ask each other, is it empathy circle? So let's try really hard not to judge, analyze, give advice. Let's just respond without reacting as far as we can. Okay, and enjoy yourselves. So today's topic will be whatever's live for you, or if you need a topic, be around decision making and procrastination. I'd love to hear people's thoughts on that. So I'm going to nominate a speaker. Anne, would you be a speaker, please, while I listen?
Yes, certainly, Ruth. Thank you.
Oh, one more thing. Sorry, before you start, I'm going to hold this up when it's time to stop after 3 minutes. Yeah, it's a soft stop, so you can finish your sentences. Thank you.
Procrastination. Well, I think maybe I'm an expert on that. I wish I wasn't. I wish I didn't know how to do it.
I agree with you, Anne. I'm the same.
Oh,
I
hi,
really...
Wendy. Hi. I know this is a juicy topic, and we all want to. But remember, when it's Anne's turn, we're all just listening, and then it'll be your turn later. Okay, so if you could just mute yourself, that would be lovely. Thanks.
Oh, I
Back to
don't
you,
quite
Anne.
understand. So I can't just speak when I want to speak?
No, I'm afraid it doesn't work like that. Otherwise, it would be a conversation. And we can do, you can have conversations throughout most of our lives, but this is an opportunity to really listen and to really communicate deeply and to also take it in turn so that it's a very fair process. So now it's Anne's turn. So would you mind listening, please, Wendy? And we'll give you a couple of extra minutes.
I'll have to think about whether I mind or not. I'll get back to you on that. Thank you.
All right, thanks, Wendy.
Thanks, Ruth. Can you reflect that bit already? Or do you want me to repeat?
Yes, you said you wish you didn't know how to procrastinate.
Yeah, I think I'm very good at procrastinating, and I wish I wasn't. I have trouble making decisions. And so it's always, I want to make the right decision, the best decision. And that when I've made that decision, I'm confident that that's the way I'm going without any doubts, which means I procrastinate left, right, and center.
Right. So you're saying that you have difficulty making decisions because you want to make exactly the right one. Yeah, it has to be the right decision and have the right outcome. Therefore, you procrastinate all over the place.
And as I get older, I find that I had this good ability to kind of weigh things up and assess things and think about different angles and then make my choice, my decision. But I have less capacity, it seems, less brain capacity to do that, looking at lots of possibilities. And so it hinders me from getting on and making a decision at all.
Oh. So you're finding that as you mature, you're more able to look at all the different options and possibilities and outcomes, and this makes it harder to narrow it down and just plump for one decision.
No, it wasn't so much that. It wasn't that change of it becoming more difficult because I'm kind of know more. I used to be able to hold in my mind lots of different things, elements that I'm considering, and now I have less capacity to do that. And so I'm not able to do, I don't seem to get to the point of feeling I've researched something well enough to have the confidence to make a decision.
Oh, okay. Yes. So sorry, I misunderstood. So now it's a question of not being able to hold all these different possibilities at one time in your head, and you might now feel that you haven't researched properly. Therefore, decision making is harder. And
thank you.
That's
I feel fully heard.
Oh, great. Now, Wendy, Anne, you get to choose a listener for 3 minutes.
No, I've just been the speaker and you've just been the listener.
Oh God.
So if you're now the speaker and choose your listener.
I get to, yes, thank you, Anne. I better not choose Wendy as my listener. It's all going to go. Anyway, Cara, would you listen, please?
I'm listening.
I don't know what I'm going to say, but I'm sure it's 3 minutes, so I'll come out with something.
So I hear you're not sure what you're going to say, but it's only 3 minutes, so you got this.
Ah, yeah. So why did I choose this topic? I was having a conversation yesterday with a fellow procrastinator, and we both realized that there's a lot of things we love to do, and there's so much on offer in life that it can be difficult to narrow it down to just a few things, and we've only got time to do a few things.
So I hear why this topic came alive for you today is that you were talking to a fellow procrastinator, and one of the struggles you have is you have so many things you love to do that you end up running into optionitis.
Yeah, good way of putting it. And then somebody else I was speaking to today said, well, if you're not making a decision, then you are using up a lot of energy just going from one to the other. He advised that the best way to find out if it's the right decision is to make it and get on with it.
So I heard that you, as you were having this conversation, that what it came down to is the best way to make a decision.
Sorry, I've just, oh yeah, thank you. That's well reflected. I've just noticed Wendy's eating a packet of crisps. We didn't specifically talk about food and the empathy circle, but it is a little bit distracting, Wendy. If you wouldn't mind having a snack later, that'd be great. So thank you. Cara was saying,
reflecting back, so the best way to go about deciding what you want to do is to just do with it.
Yes, that is what the friend was saying to me today. So I'm just going to give myself the time up. And it felt like a weight had dropped off my shoulders when he said that. I thought, yeah.
And so when you heard that, it felt like a weight was taken off your shoulders.
Yeah, thank you, Cara. I feel fully heard. And would you choose a listener, please?
Yes, I will speak to Wendy. Will you be my listener?
Yes, with pleasure, Cara.
Decisions and procrastinating. I can literally talk about this ad nauseum.
You're sharing your connection with this topic, procrastinating. You could talk about it.
It is particularly alive for me this week because I managed to procrastinate my entire house rather than so I could avoid doing what I had decided to do.
Okay. So you've noticed this week this is very topical because you cleaned your entire house as a way of not doing what you needed to be doing.
Yeah, and it came up this morning on a car ride. So my folks are in town and they're staying in a hotel. We went for hotel breakfast, and on the way there, we looked up the term "play it by ear" and what it means and where it came from. I'll pause.
So you're sharing that your parents are in town and staying in a hotel, and you went for a hotel breakfast, and you were reflecting on something or other, and I really can't remember what it was, and I'm really not sure if I'm really that interested actually, but I can carry on and try my
Wendy. Let's try and keep the empathy going here in this circle. Remember, we're not judging what anybody says. We're trying to take an interest and just reflect back. That's your practice here.
Okay, Ruth, thank you.
So when we looked up "play it by ear," it was results and progress over process.
Okay, so you're having breakfast with your parents who are in town, and you're looking at the phrase
"play it by ear."
Oh, that's the one, "play it by ear." And it was to do with results and results over progress.
Results and progress over process.
Results and progress over process. Okay, this was a definition of "play it by ear." Results.
Yeah, which I found really fascinating because I decided that that's probably my biggest problem and why I procrastinate after I've made a decision, because I get stuck on process and stops my progress.
So you found this definition very helpful, and reflecting on your own process, you feel that this is exactly what you do.
I feel heard. Thank you.
Thank you, Cara.
So do you know what to do now, Wendy?
No.
Oh, now it's your turn to speak and be heard by one of these lovely listeners. You can ask someone.
Thank you so much. Edwin, would you be my listener, please?
Sure.
Thank you. Yeah. Okay, could I please take a moment to just refocus myself, please? Because I noticed, Ruth, when you were giving the instructions, there was no mention of silence and pause. And, I just wondered what the role of silence is in empathy circles.
You noticed that Ruth didn't give any instructions for silence. You're just curious, what's the role of silence? And you were taking a few moments of silence there to, looks like, maybe connect with yourself.
Mm-hmm. So in terms of procrastination, I do find that silence can be a great help in refocusing.
And on this topic of procrastination, for you, silence can be helpful.
So if I, find myself, doing the equivalent of sharpening the pencils when I was doing my homework as a distraction, or like Cara was mentioning about cleaning the house, actually, if I just come into myself, into my body, into my calm space, it can help to get back on track and refocus in terms of the distractions.
So in terms of there's these distractions, like Kara has cleaning the whole house, and you would, as a student, do sharpening of your pencils. What you found was really helpful was just being quiet and connecting with your feelings. Sounds like settling into your own inner self.
And certainly I find to a certain extent with decision making, a bit like Anne was saying, sometimes I can do so much research before making the decision that I no longer need to do the thing that I was researching, because if I'm planning something, a trip or something, I research it. I no longer need to go on the trip because I've kind of mentally done it.
So you've noticed that if you're like planning a trip and you just research it, that you don't even need to go on the trip anymore because you've done so much research of the experience. And I think that's the time. I just noticed the time.
That's very quick. Is that 3 minutes? Wow. I thought that was very, very quick 3 minutes.
So you're just feeling it was a quick 3 minutes and maybe a little disappointed, would like more time.
Thank you, Edwin. I feel thoroughly heard.
Ruth, can I speak to you?
Yeah, great.
Yeah, I love all these topics people bring up. It's always fun to explore these new topics. So yeah, enjoy it.
Yeah, you're really enjoying the topics people are bringing up, and you love them.
And for me, it's not so much procrastination, but now that I'm taking on this big project, it's like, whoa, there's so much to do. And it's more of an issue of documenting all the things that have to be done, and then prioritizing them and having some sort of a project management sort of approach to deal with all this work that I'm in with this retreat center.
Yeah, so for you, you're saying procrastination's not the issue, it's how to implement everything and manage all the little things that need to get done, project management.
Yeah, but what I hate is about project management, when you kind of plan everything out, it's so the creativity of the planning and the organizing, and then the actual doing just is like a bit boring. It's like something it's just like sort of tedious. And so on one hand, I don't like to over organize either, because it kind of takes the fun, some kind of energy out. So there's some kind of a balance I'm looking for. I don't have it totally worked out.
Yeah. So I heard you say that you can plan down to a T and get really organized, but when you actually come to do it, it's a little bit boring because the fun or the spontaneity has gone out of it.
Yeah, there's some kind of energy to it. My partner, she's like really into making lists, and for her, her joy comes from knocking something off the list. It's like joy every time something gets off the list. So she'll go through the tedious part of it and then kind of celebrate stuff getting off of her list, and also having sort of control of all the tasks. So I guess there's this whole emotional landscape of dealing with these type of things that's that I'm really needing to learn better now with big organizational stuff.
Yeah, so you're noticing your partner, who is very good at making lists and ticking them off, and she has a lot of fun ticking them off and satisfaction. You wish you could learn how to do that, to be more creative around the implementation.
Yeah, I feel heard. Yeah, my time's up too.
Yeah, thank you. So, Wendy, would you be my listener, dare I ask you? Can I trust you to be? Okay. Wendy, would you be my listener, please?
That would be a privilege, Ruth. Yes, thank you.
Oh, great.
Oh, I think she's just dropped out. Perhaps when she was pressing her timer or something, I think she must have left the meeting.
Yeah, that was all of a sudden, huh?
Yeah, it was accidental. I'm sure she'll rejoin and we'll admit her back in. She was doing really well. I think the challenge with giving challenges when it's in role play, I can't help myself giggling, like I know I like want to laugh. Oh, there she is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is a bit self-conscious.
It is, yeah. Yeah, very. But yeah. Hi, Ruth, you're back, but you're muted. Hi.
Yes. Oh, sorry about that. Yeah.
We all press wrong buttons at wrong
I
time.
sabotaged my own, gave myself a difficulty. Oh, yes, that was really interesting hearing about all these different attitudes and skills towards making decisions. Yeah, it reminded me of another conversation I had with somebody about different people like different. It comes from a thing called dragon dreaming, which I'm not 100% familiar with. I'll just pause there.
Yes, so you found it very interesting listening to what people have been saying about decision making, and you're reflecting on another conversation you've had with someone recently about dragon dreaming, and you're not 100% sure what it is, but yeah.
But it's definitely to do with 4 different leanings we have. Like some people love to plan and to tick the list off, and some people love to dream, some love to actually do it, which I find very hard. I'm more of a planner. And some love to celebrate. I think that's what they say. Yeah, to sort of celebrate achievements.
Okay, so you're sharing that as far as you understand it, dragon dreaming involves 4 different approaches to decision making: the planning, lots of lists and such like, the dreaming about the activity, then actually doing the activity, and then other people who like to celebrate the doing. So these 4 different approaches.
Yeah, it's really interesting. It'd be nice to get a balance between all of them. Yeah. And I think that's my time. Well, it is my time.
so you're sharing it, you'd like to get a balance of the planning, the dreaming, the doing, and the celebrating. You'd like to get a balance of that in your life and then your time. Is that?
Thank you, Wendy. I feel fully heard. And this is our last round, I think.
Well, I was just wondering, actually, although I'm very happy to, I think maybe if we've only got 10 minutes left, maybe it's good to close the circle and to give feedback. So if that's okay with you, Ruth? Okay, so can I ask you, Ruth, to reflect on your experience over the last 25 minutes? How do you feel? How do you think it went? What did you learn?
It was good. I mean, to be honest, I think it's hard being a facilitator because your mind is elsewhere, and you're still joining in as well at the same time. And then I was a bit tense about all the what your interruptions were going to be and whether I was going to come across as just rude or impatient. Because I can see, I can see how difficult it is when you do get somebody who is messing with the structure, not messing, but not going with the flow of it. But I mean, this was probably, you're all very reasonable people, so I mean, I'm sure it could be a lot more difficult than today. But thanks.
How do you feel sorry to interrupt. How do you feel you handle the challenges, Ruth?
It was. Well, I think one of them I didn't even notice for a while, the crisps. But I kind of made up my mind beforehand to not get narky about it. To be chill.
Thank you, Ruth. Thank you so much. Hara, would you like to give Ruth feedback?
Yeah. I thought you did a fabulous job handling them. I don't know if you know that you do this, but I am going to adopt a behavior you have where you were like, Wendy, Wendy, Wendy. And then you reflected and talked with her about it. But it was like, hey, hi. And that was so smooth every single time, Jack. And I think that's a brilliant thing. So I thought you did a really good well, and you taught me something. So thank you very much.
Oh, thanks.
And you're muted, dear.
Thanks, Ruth. I enjoyed your facilitation. I enjoyed your presence and your calmness, and I had confidence that you were going to deal with whatever came up and happened, and you did. I like the way that you went over. You used the chance to introduce the method, and brought in quite a lot of things into that. I think that there's always room for practicing that and improving it. I'd also, a bit in there, you use the term active speaker. Well, it just is a bit confusing because we have a speaker, we have an active listener and a silent listener. So I always try to use those three terms and say something about each. But it was good that you did that. And I felt that you dealt with the challenges well. And in particular, the one where the crisp packet was going, because you were the speaker then. And in a way, it wasn't distracting from what was happening, from you speaking and your listener reflecting to you, really. And so not giving it much attention, I felt was appropriate and fine to deal with it afterwards, if that works.
Okay. Yeah.
I didn't, your little sign, you had time, please, I think. Yeah, I don't actually like your PLS. I think that for some people, some generations, yeah, everybody knows. You might think everyone knows what PLS is, but we have people from different cultures, different continents. So I think that is not a good idea. It's potentially, they won't know. It's just possibly confusing.
Yeah.
So just time, I think, is fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you very much. And I like the topic.
Oh, great. Edwin, please.
Yeah, I just confirm everything everyone else said. It was the active speaker. Sometimes, for some reason, sometimes that active speaker gets out there and the other people see other people use it and everybody starts using it. And it's just simpler. It's just the speaker, active listener. It just sort of simplifies it. So it's good to keep reminding so it doesn't like take off as a norm. There was a place in terms of the reflection of the disruption where I thought was really good, where you tapped into the values of, oh, we want to keep a fair process, right? So I just thought, oh, that's good, because it felt good as a listener to it. It's like, oh, we want this to be fair. That's why we're doing it, and it's fair for me. So it's as a silent person here, so that's always powerful to reflect back what, where people are. And like there was one place, like, just reflect back, when somebody interrupts, you just reflect back, oh, here you have something to say. We want to hear what you have to say, and you'll get a chance to say anything you want. So I kind of like emphasize anything you want. You can say whatever, you're totally free. And I think people kind of sense like, oh, I'm free to say anything. That's really great. So that's, and then in terms of with the crisps, I just had an idea that if I was the speaker, the facilitator, and something like that was going on, as the speaker, I might have actually brought it into what I was saying. So I might have said like, I see Wendy over there eating the crisps and it's really irritating me or distracting me. And then your listener would reflect back, oh, Wendy, eating the crisp is sort of distracting you. Is there, so you kind of get the message across using the process, and you're sharing a true, honest feeling, if that's what's really happened. So it's trying to use the process as much for doing any kind of correction and sharing. So yeah, but that what everybody else said too, just it felt really good. Topic was really a lot of fun. Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, Edwin, you did such a great job, Ruth. You really did.
Oh, thank you.
Your approach is so gentle and empathetic. You're kind of walking the talk, just in the tone of your voice and such like, and yeah, just your presence, your sense of honesty. It's like at one point, oh God, I can't remember. You and it was like, yeah, you're just honest, and that was great. I think in the how to, I love the way you said, oh, enjoy it, bringing in this process of we're here to enjoy ourselves. It's because the how to sometimes can get a bit, I mean, the fact that I think even you use the word rules, these are the rules. And so using the word joy was great. With the challenges, I loved at one point you said, this is an empathy circle, so let's try not to judge. That really helped me bring me back, to the whole point of being there. Yeah, I love the topic, and that I think that's the first time I've done an empathy circle when it hasn't been as set as a question. And I think that's interesting, just to have the concept. But yeah, I think we're about to break out in 58 seconds. So yeah, I personally prefer a set question because it gets me going deeper rather than just the concept. But I love that you introduced that. So thanks everyone, very much indeed. And I really apologize for all the interruptions to everyone. It stops us going a bit deeper, but thanks everyone.
No, it's gratitude for your interruptions. Thank you, Wendy, for your facilitation, your interruptions. It's very helpful for everyone. This is a lovely group. It was just a real lovely to be part of this group with you all.
Yeah, likewise. Thanks everyone. And yeah, Thank you. See you soon.
Oh, hello.
Hi, Alex.
I adopted something.
Oh, we must be the main room.
Yes, we are, Ruth. So,
got
it.
yeah, you don't have to leave your breakout room.
Everybody
relax.
comes to us.
Welcome back, everyone. So we're going to debrief from our circles. Let me just put in the chat what we'll be talking about in our 1 minute each debrief. What were your learnings and insights from your experience in today's training? And please keep it to a minute or less so we all have time to share. Share your most important insight. And if you want to share more, you could probably do that in the feedback form if you like. And so I'll call on each person so we can move along a little quicker. And so I will call on George first.
Yeah. So that was quite challenging for me to have the challenges, because usually I had this hard times to stopping people, like or interrupting or face someone. So and that was really great. DJ did a really great job, and I had this really great experience to find how to do this. So thank you for that.
Great. Well, you're smiling when you said that, so you must have had fun.
Yeah.
Sally.
Well, I did learn that I didn't pick a topic, but actually it really became fun and I loved it. And so the topic kind of diverged into kind of fun and silly things of mycelium and southpaw kitties. But good to go. I had a great time. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Sally. DJ.
Yeah, this was one of the most satisfying empathy circles I've ever had. It was just satisfying on every level, emotionally, spiritually, intellectually. Two great questions, just amazing questions, amazing people. Alex asked about being a human being, and George asked about what's important about empathy. And those were just really great questions. And Linda, of course, is always a pleasure to learn from. So thank you. It was wonderful.
Thank you. Jana.
I was the room facilitator for our circle, and with Larry and Sally and Jennifer, and we had a wonderful empathy circle. And I do love empathy circles. And I think it was unanimous. Everyone loves empathy circles in our empathy circle. And it was very precious. And we shared a lot of things. We basically spoke about what was alive for us. And it was both serious and tender and moving and very lovely. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, Jana. Alex.
Yes, I always get a lot out of these Saturday afternoon sessions. I think I probably learned that I feel ready to go out there and amp up my facilitation in a bit more of a formal or structured way, like ready to go. I think DJ's challenges were funny, but good, good practice and preparation. And I think being able to handle them reasonably well is a sign to be like, okay, I think I've got this down pat, and now I need to kind of put it into practice in a less familiar environment. So that's my challenge for this week.
Great. Thank you, Alex. Dee.
Yeah, we had a riveting empathy circle on, the same kind of issues about being a human being, and all of our different philosophies came up, and it was riveting. And Bill gave some good challenges that were fun. And I presented with some of the hardest challenges, me. So that gives me empathy for other people, allowing them to have their challenges in the moment. So we had a good time. Thank you.
Thank you, Dee. Ruth.
Yeah, we had a lovely time. Quite a gentle circle. I benefited from Cara going first, so I could hear her feedback and then take that on board. And I learnt, among other things, the challenges were fun too. I learnt that if you're the speaker, you can, and someone is challenging, you can use the process to kind of deal with that within your turn, which was, interesting.
Great. Thank you, Ruth. Jennifer.
I think we had a really great circle and great facilitator, a lot of fun, and like Jana shared, some touching and poignant and vulnerable, beautiful things were shared. Just that space that was created from the structure of the empathy circles, I think allows for all the mycelium to connect.
Thank you, Jennifer. Jonathan.
So today I opted and I took advantage of not having a challenge, specifically because my challenge was using a foreign clock. My challenge was using an ironing board as a table, and dealing with the logistics of taking your computer to another place and having to do the facilitation. And we had a wonderful, very wonderful discussion that ranged from Carl Jung to Chat GPT. And I was very happy to be here today.
Thank you, Jonathan. Cara.
I'm going to quote Larry Love here. I love empathy circles. And I found that I love it the most when I'm not giving challenges or getting them. But I learn from them every time either way. I did get reminded to lean into the empathy process when handling a challenge because, well, we already know this, that it works. So lean into what you know works. And I just had a really good time. I thought it was, Ruth said it well, it was just really gentle. We just had a really soft, warm, like, I'm just in such a good space now. Thanks, y'all.
Thank you, Cara. Wendy.
Thank you. Well, it was, the time went far too quickly, just getting into the topics, but the topic of procrastination and decision making was, allowed me to go quite deep in thinking about that. I was the one giving the challenges, and I find it really hard to do them without giggling. It's like it's just this role acting, but yeah. Cara and Ruth handled the challenges really, really well, and Edwin and Anne and gave really good feedback to everyone. So yeah, it just flowed and was just too quick.
Yeah, thank you, Wendy. Larry?
Yeah, we just had a lot of fun. It was really a sweet empathy circle. The challenges were fun. The facilitation was great. It was a blast, and I still love empathy circles.
Great, thank you. Anne?
Yeah, so for me, we had 2 topics for each one. One was about procrastination and decision making, and the other one was what we enjoy in nature or connection to nature. So I love both of those topics, and having Cara facilitate and Ruth facilitate was a treat. And I enjoyed Wendy coming up with lots of challenges and enjoying doing the challenging, and Edwin's wisdom about dealing with challenges by using the process and referring people to the empathetic process was a lovely reminder. And I love that that's true.
Thank you, Anne. Linda.
It was a relaxing circle. It was good. DJ did a great job facilitating, making sure we were all on the same page before we got started. We were concerned a little bit about, how much time we had and whether we would have a lot of excess time, but we didn't. It all just flowed together. So it was great. And there were some good questions, thought-provoking. So it was good.
Thank you, Linda. Edwin.
Yeah, we had a really lovely group. It was just a pleasure to be kind of in everyone's presence. Still feel very warm kind of feelings from our group. I liked the learning. It was just the learning that we do. I really enjoy seeing the learning. And again, it was mentioned about the topics, is that chance to go into explore these topics that people come up with. I get a lot just being a chance to talk about nature, my experience with backpacking, talk about procrastination, my experience about managing project management and so forth. So just having a space to be able to share that is just a lot of fun, to have a group to talk with about that, and just keep learning and sort of deepening the process, and they get to share some insights. It was really good. And just Wendy's great challenges that she threw out there. I could just see her mind thinking of different ways of disrupting, and just enjoyed seeing that.
Yeah, thank you. My experience was similar to what everybody else is saying. It was very easy, gentle, heartwarming, fascinating topics. So it was just, and I'll use the word we were talking about, synchronicity. We were all experiencing the same thing. So we will wrap up this portion of our call, and I'm going to turn it over to Wendy. Thank you all.
Thank you so much, Kathy. So Bill, Larry, Linda, Anne, as trainers, do you have any final comments, please?
I have one.
Oh, I was going to come to you, Edwin.
Oh, you're going to leave me? Okay.
I was going to come to you because I know you have.
Quiet.
Sorry. Anne, Bill, Larry, Linda.
Yeah, I just have a quick thing because we were talking about trying to redirect people without getting into a power struggle. And so one of the things that I found effective, and this is a tool, use it or not, that's fine, is that I'll say, if I correct you or redirect you, it's not a criticism of you or your ideas, but just to keep us into the process. And that kind of takes it out of a personal way. It's just one other tool that you might use. That's it. Thanks.
That's really helpful, Bill. Thank you. Anything from Larry, Anne, or Linda?
All good.
Okay, Edwin, please, your comments.
Okay, so our training has usually been 5 sessions, and adding another session, which we're going to be doing next week. So I just wanted to give you a little bit of a heads up. It's going to be sort of just a little taster of the empathy circle for conflict mediation. We're gonna, yeah, exactly. I see Kara there. It'll hopefully add a little bit of spice. It's more energy, different type of energy to the empathy circle practice. We're doing these monthly conflict empathy cafes with the conflict peace building community, and we'll be doing that on March 4th. And so we're kind of making the case for empathy, you know, supporting the peace building conflict mediation communities. And so I'm adding this lesson so that we can sort of speak to that community, as well as sort of have them come and join us, and that they'll be interested in a little bit of just a taste of the introduction to the empathy circle for that mediation. A full course would, you know, be 6-7 weeks, but so we're just going to do a little bit of a taster. I'll send some links about that to prepare you. Be kind of gentle with it, because this is a new lesson, kind of developing it, and I just wanted to give you a little bit of heads up about that. And I will send more emails, instructions and stuff, so keep an eye out for that. So that's it. Just wanted to give that little heads up. Thanks, Wendy.
Thank you, Edwin. So let's review what we've covered in this session today. Everyone who wanted to practice facilitating a short empathy circle with an opportunity to practice dealing with challenges for those who felt ready. And we debriefed the experience at the end of the empathy circle. And in terms of what is coming up next week in session 5, Edwin has just gone through that. And you know, it is a new session, so please, you know, be gentle, as he has just said. There is a survey, feedback survey, which we hope you will take the time to fill in, and that is in the chat right now. But it will also be included in the assignments, and Edwin will kindly send out an email. And that will have the reminder about this feedback form. It will be with your empathy. He will list the empathy buddies for this week. And, you know, if possible, if you can facilitate an empathy circle with family or friends, and there will be, there'll be lots of information in that email. So please look out for it. And we invite you to please post in chat now just one particular feeling, one word as a result of your experience in this empathy circle today. Thank you, Cara. Cara feels glowing. Edward feels warmth. Yeah, Kathy is hopeful. Bill stimulated. John, impish. Okay, thank you, Jana. I love that image of you, impish. Let's giggle together. Jennifer, you feel connected. Linda, peaceful, and Ruth, peaceful. So yeah, across the ocean, joining hands between us. And George, strength. Larry, happy. So yeah, and Jonathan, grateful. So wow, it's time to finish. Can you believe it? Oh. So let's have the jazz hands for a goodbye. And thank you all, and be safe.
Bye. See you next week. Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Thank you.